Welcome back to Next Step Corner, where we dive into real life stories of career reinvention, resilience, and leadership. Today, I'm joined by Meghan McCaffery, a former teacher and nurse who's now a career coach helping women design purposeful and fulfilling work lives. In this episode, Meghan shares what it's like to make a big career pivot, especially when you're unsure of what comes next. We'll explore how she uses a holistic approach rooted in vision, values, and joy to guide her clients, and why mindset work is just as critical as strategy in any career transition. Whether you're navigating change yourself or helping others to do the same, Meghan's story and insights will leave you feeling empowered and inspired. So let's jump in. Hi, Meghan. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, Stephanie. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
So fill us in. Give us the arc of your career journey. Where did you start and how did you get to become a career coach?
Yeah. So, it's been quite the path, right? So out of, college in my 20s, I was a teacher. That's what I, had my degree in and did that for 10 years. And at the end of that time, I went back to school to become a nurse. That was the only thing I can describe it as, some people have callings, and it was just something that wasn't going away. I don't know if it was a calling, but it was just like wouldn't stop bugging me. So I was like, okay, I need to try this. So I went back to school, got my degree, got my license, and worked in, as a registered nurse for 14 years. I still am licensed, but choose not to practice right now. And at the end of 2020, left my nursing career, not probably for all the reasons people think because of the year that it was, but some of it was there for sure. But also I just had something in me that I was like, I really wanted to do something on my own. I was kind of tired of like having a boss, honestly, punching a clock, all that kind of stuff. And just was ready to, I just felt like there was more that I could offer in this world. And I knew that I wanted to help other women in some way. It wasn't super clear in the beginning that it was career coaching specifically, but it was coaching, and just kind of following that trend of teaching and nursing. It goes they all kind of go hand in hand, right? They have similar attributes. So I wanted to keep helping people better their lives, and I wanted women to go after their dreams. And so that's kind of where that all started.
Oh, that's great. And I see that thread, that giving, right? Helping
Right.
children, helping your patients, and now helping your clients.
Yeah.
Uh, my experience with career coaching is I sort of stumbled into it. I was doing it before I even knew it was a field, an industry, a role that we could have to help others. What was your moment of, oh, this is a thing?
Yeah, I feel the same way. But, I think I learned as I got into coaching that like there were so many different coaches, like some super specific, right? And then some very broad in general. I think my clients led me to it in a way that I was like, I recognized a pattern of women coming to me. And one of the main things that they would talk about were their careers and how they had these dreams, like they were in a job that was okay, like it was paying the bills kind of thing. But then they would tell me something that they were really interested in. But then they would just dismiss it like, oh, that's silly, or it's impossible, or I'm too old, or, all these things. And I would be like, well, no, wait, let's talk about that some more. Like, why can't you do it? So, um, and I think so that kind of made me realize that that was a common thread for so many women that wanted to try different things, than the things they had maybe been doing since their 20s. And that, yeah. And then I'm trying to think of like the moment that like became, where I was like, oh, career coaching. I'm sure I just saw it along the way and realized, okay, wait, I could specifically do this. And then I found Park, and I'm not quite sure like how even I was probably, I think I was Googling like how to get certified as a career coach. And I think that's how I found Park, and then took the dive in to get my certification through Park. So think that's how
Right.
that kind of all evolved.
It all evolves. I
Yeah.
don't think any of us start out as, I'm going to be a career coach. And
No.
yet here we are. But
Right.
it's the experience that drives it, which
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
I worked with veterans. I was helping them. It wasn't my main job source, but I supported the team that advised them on what they needed to do their job. So was it post-secondary education in a 4-year degree? Was it a trade school? Was it an associate's degree? And because I had just graduated from college, I knew a lot about Boise State. And so I helped with that.
Hmm.
And then moving on, team lead, I was helping my team figure out what they wanted to do, how to move up, how to move over, whatever they were doing. And it really wasn't until I did a little research, I'm like, oh, I can help people figure out their career. So yeah,
Hmm.
it just evolves. It just
Yeah.
happens.
Right.
Yeah. So you have identified 7 key areas of life to balance. I love that, and I want to hear more about that because as women, we do manage a lot. So
Right.
tell me, summarize your framework, and then we'll get into them.
So this part is the first step that I take all my clients through. Like I will tell someone when they're having like a consult or a discovery call with me, like I can't tell you step by step how we're going to get to your solution to what your next thing is because it kind of evolves based on the individual. But I start everyone in this place of exploring what I call like your vision. And the reason I came up with this, I guess, it's not like I can't say it was just my own brainchild. It's probably from like reading so many different things and realizing, okay, this could help because so many women come to me and they use the phrase like, I'm stuck, right? So a lot of times when people get stuck and they feel that way, it's like you've stopped kind of like thinking forward and exploring like what is possible for you in the future. So I take them through this like, what's your vision kind of thing, which maybe sounds a little woo woo, but it's really not. It's all about like goals. Like, what do you want your life to look like in your future? And making sure that we're taking the steps now that align with that. Because you may be doing certain things in your life right now that are never going to get you to that end goal. So how can we change that? So we look through these 7 different like areas that kind of encompass all parts of life that we all touch on in some way. So we start with finances. So it's like, okay, where do you want to be financially, say in the next 5 years, 10 years? 10 years can be kind of hard for people to look at, especially if they're really stuck in like seeing anything. So sometimes we even have to do like next year, like 1 year, where do you see yourself? So it's just about like, where do you see your finances? How much do you want to be making? What does your retirement look like? What is any other kind of assets you might have, investments? Like what do you want that to look like? What's your cash flow like? So, and I remind women that to dream about this a little bit, right? Because I think so many women like will have like a big thought and then they quickly like tamper that down. And they're like, oh no, that's crazy. I can't ever think that I would make that much money or whatever it is. Right.
Right.
So I'm like, no, this is just dreaming. Like you don't have to like put a limit on it. Okay. It doesn't mean that you're going to get that in the next year. But if we're not shooting for that, how are we going to get anything more than what you have now if that's what you want? Another area we look at obviously is your career. So, we're going to go into this more throughout different sessions, but we just start with like, what do you see in your future for your career right now? And so many women that come to me, they don't even know what they want to do in the future. So it's not about necessarily the what. It can just be like, what do you envision your day-to-day looking like? Are you commuting? Are you working from home? Is it hybrid? Are you the boss? What kind of boss do you have? Like there's all these different pieces that you can name. Before I left my last hospital job, I like totally would say, I want to work like outside. I want to, like be outside of like a clinical setting now. And I want to like have an office and I want to be able to, maybe I go visit doctors. I drive here to there. Like I get out and I'm able to like work from home some days. And so what happened was when I saw a job posting that literally met everything that I had said that I wanted, it happened to be a case management job. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is everything I just described. So that's part of why we do this vision too, is like, you can list all these things out. And then when the moment actually comes, you're like, oh, wait, this is exactly what I want. So another area we'll look at is relationships. Not necessarily doesn't mean romantic relationships, although it can, but this can just be with your family, with your kids. How do you, like I can think in my future, my kids are in their 20s. So I can think of, in 10 years, maybe I'll have grandkids and I want to have more time available to help my kids with their own families, so that's part of my vision for my future. So how can I set up my life right now so that I can have that in 10 years? And I'm sorry, I keep bringing it back to me. I'm just trying to give good examples of what this looks like. Another place, my favorite, is like free time. So like, what are we doing when you don't have any other responsibilities? Is it travel? Is it more time to just relax at home and have a glass of wine, whatever it is? Then we'll go into giving back, because I think it's important to think about your community and how you can give back to it. And that can be so many different ways. It can be volunteering, it can be donating either items, money, or services. There's just a lot of different ways that we can give back to our communities. So what does that look like for you? And a lot of times I find people have trouble with this just because they're so caught up right now in the trying to work Monday through Friday and take care of their families that there's very little time sometimes to give back. And it doesn't have to be big right now, right? Sometimes it's just cleaning out your closet and donating to a place that you care about. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Then we look at personal development and just how are we taking care of more of our soul and our spirit, right? And then the last one is health. And I like to incorporate that, as a former nurse. So we talk about your health and taking care of yourself every year, making sure you're going to your annual appointments, doing all the things you're supposed to do for your age group. And then looking forward into what do you want your health to look like? Not that we can predict how things will go for us, but in general, do you want to be somebody who works out? Do you want to be somebody who does yoga? Do you, how do you want to be somebody that eats healthy? So we need to make those changes starting now if we can. And I love this because it's not related to your career whatsoever, right? It doesn't seem like it is, but I have so many clients that, are still younger, and they'll come back to me and they'll say, I hadn't gone to the doctor in years. And so I finally went, I got my blood work done, and, turns out I was pre-diabetic. And so now I know that I need to start taking better care of myself now. And if I wouldn't have done this, I might have been full-fledged into diabetes if I wouldn't have taken the time out. So I just like that, being able to remind people to
It's
take.
important.
Yeah.
It is important. And especially for women. So my story is I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 38 last year.
Yeah.
And then I stopped doing everything because I didn't have the strength. I worked, one, because I wanted to, one, because I needed to.
Yeah.
And then, what I had left, I spent with my family, my husband and my son. And now that I'm back, now that I'm working again, and for the most part, normal, all of those areas matter. My husband and I recently did our budget. We had to make some changes. And then I have goals financially as well. And so I said them out loud to my husband, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
The health part we forget about so easily. Your kids are in your 20s, mine's 11. I have one son that's 11, and it is all about him. But now, because of the cancer, I'm like, oh, I need to make time to stretch and to do easy ones. I love weight training. I absolutely do. But I'm dealing with lymphedema right now, hence all of the compression sleeves and whatnot. And I have to stretch. And so at this point, I have to make time to get up to just stretch. And I'm doing yoga and some softer exercises. So all of that is important. Relationships. I just again, your family, like my sister and I are best buddies. I have my friends, I have my husband, I have my family, and how to balance all of that. It all comes together. And if a piece is missing, we want it. We want
Yeah.
more,
Oh, for sure. I
right?
agree.
So I talk to my clients too about that, where you do have to think of all the pieces because you're like, oh, I have the best job. Why am I still unhappy or
Mhm.
unsatisfied? I like the word unsatisfied because that generally is what I find it to be for me. And it's because I haven't hit my goals in all of these 7 areas,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and I'll often say, like, as a side effect of, like, career coaching is that you find more fulfillment in other parts of your life, right? Because 'Cause I'm like, it's not just all about work. Like, I'm here to help you also figure out how to make the other parts of your life more fulfilling, because sometimes we can't get out of that job that we don't like right away, right? So,
Right.
like, let's take the focus off of that while we're figuring things out. And like, where can you bring more fulfillment in your personal life that's going to kind of take the sting off of maybe a job that is just not it right now?
Right.
So let's focus on like other ways we can bring more fun or more joy or whatever it is into your life. But yeah, I'll say that's a side effect, because people will tell me all these things that they are interested in, and not all of our interests have to be our work or a business. It can be just like what we do for fun.
Right. Right. I love reading. And for several years, when my son was a toddler, younger elementary, I was barely reading. Now that he's actually going into middle school next week, I find that I have more time.
Mhm.
And my husband will joke, he's like, "You're always reading." I'm like, "Yeah, you're always on your phone." That's my little joke. Like, well, you're
Yes.
always on your phone. I'm always in a book. But it makes me happy. And if I don't read and have that downtime to myself,
Right.
it it affects me. I started hiking this summer. Part of it was it's the only thing I can really do easily
Right.
because it's mostly walking, but still, it was an activity that got me out in the sun. And it ebbs and flows. I don't believe there's ever a perfect. You can get close to perfect balance with all of those areas, those 7 areas, but
Yeah. But
it's
yeah, I think
doable.
if your goal is perfection, then that's not going to happen.
No, no.
You're going to feel frustrated about that.
Yeah, for me, the job is more important than the money. The money's important,
Right.
but I'm okay making a little less if I'm doing what I love.
What you love. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll still think about it, but
Right.
it'll
Yeah.
it'll still come up,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So for you, so you talked a little bit about nursing. What did you bring over from your teaching and your nursing skills into career coaching?
I think one of the first things, one of the, I think, simplest things, maybe not so simple for some people, is just I find it easy to connect with people, and to just like gain people's trust and make them feel comfortable in the environment we're coaching in, right? Which is typically like this, like a video. Um, and being able to really listen and
Hmm.
hear people and hear what they're saying, and not just trying to promote some, my own agenda on them. That's not what it's about. It's like listening to them and seeing what they need, and I guess being more empathetic. But I think other than that, a lot of, when I'm coaching, sometimes it turns into a little bit of teaching. So I think I'm able to like really break things down to people in ways that they understand. Like if something's not connecting, I can like, okay, is this making sense? And if they're like, no, I'm like, okay, let me think of another way. And I'm really good at like trying to figure out how to break something down into a way that somebody can understand it. Um, I'm very good at helping people set goals. I mean, and that isn't like teachers are constantly like, that's part of it, right? Is we're helping people set goals. Also, nursing, like when somebody has just had an illness or is having some kind of ongoing illness, part of that is teaching about what's going on, and also goal setting as to what you can do in order to get to the next level, the next point of getting back to wellness. So I think that's another way that all of those things kind of come into play.
Yeah, and for our listeners today, if you're thinking about a career coach, these are things you can ask them.
Mhm.
What is their background? What are their skill sets? What is their philosophy? All career coaches should be setting action goals,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It is all about goals and how to get there and the micro steps to get there and whatnot. Lofty goals are great, 10-year goals are great, but still planning in those check-ins and the
Right.
accountability factor can be huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I find that that is like almost one of the most beneficial things from coaching is that accountability because, people, will ask me questions about, like if I'm in a discovery call with somebody, like, well, what is the benefit of me doing this? Or can I do it on my own kind of thing? And I'll tell
Mhm.
people, sure, I think you can do it on your own. The question is, will you? And then the question is also, how long is it going to take you? Because if you're working with me for, say, 3 or 6 months, I'm going to be checking in on you between sessions. We're going to be setting goals each session. Like you said, not a 10-year goal. This is going to be a 2-week goal. This is going to
Yes.
be the next time we meet, these are your goals, right? And if you come to that next meeting and you're like, oh, I didn't get to do them, then, you feel that more than if you're like, at home doing it on your own and you're just like, oh, I'll do it next week. Next week turns into next month. Oh, then it's Christmas. Oh, then it's next year. Like we know how time gets away from us like that. So I think, yeah, the accountability piece is huge.
It's huge. I had to get my nutrition under control. I have a nutrition coach for a few months. I want to work on speaking soon. I'm interviewing speaking coaches. The accountability is where it's at because you don't do it. And my clients will feel bad. Oh, I just finished my homework last night. That's okay. It's due on time. I
Yeah.
got it in time. You turned it
Right.
in on time. That's
Yeah.
great. So that accountability is huge. Tell me, what are your typical aha moments with your clients? What are some fun ones that you've had?
Mm. I think some of it, sometimes it has to do with the accountability when they don't come with like their goals done, like they haven't done things. And they'll realize, oh, like this is why I'm not getting what I'm trying to do. Like nothing's happening because I'm not doing
Mhm.
it. I can think of like a really recent one where somebody she was very iffy on if she wanted to stay within what she had been doing, but she was between jobs. So she was also interviewing for jobs at the same time and just like everything. I'll just say it was in like the marketing world. And so, but she was, so there's lots of different types of marketing. And she was applying to multiple types of roles. And she didn't really, like, I could sense it the first time we talked. She was just like very hesitant. The confidence wasn't there on what she wanted to do. And I just had to like kind of bluntly ask her, like, do you think you're coming across this way in your interviews? And she was like, totally. And I said,
Yeah.
so can you see from a hiring perspective, if they're looking at you not being confident in wanting the role that you're there to interview for, how you would not be the person for that job? And she wrote to me like between sessions, and because I'll do like a pre-session, a between session form. And so they can kind of like unpack what just happened, and think about the next one. And she was like, I got so much already out of like the first session we had. And so moving forward, she actually did wind up getting a job within like a month because she realized what she wanted and could be confident in those interviews. So that was like not just a huge aha for her, but she got employed. So that was really big. And I'm not going to take all the credit for that, but I do think that confidence factor really helped shift things for her in how she was interviewing moving forward.
Right. That leads to purposeful work. How do
Mhm.
you define purposeful work?
I think it's defined by each of us and what your own purpose is. So you can, one person might have a job that they don't love because it's not connecting with them. They don't see the point. I hear that a lot. Like, I do this email stuff all day. Like, I'm emailing. I feel like I'm just at an email job. That's what people will tell me, and I don't see the point. Like, I don't see the outcome. And so I think, but somebody else, they might love that, and they feel like they're really serving a purpose somewhere. So I think the purpose is, it depends on how you define it and what is meaningful to you, what aligns with your value, what your values are, your skills, and what you enjoy bringing to this world.
That's so succinct and perfect. That's exactly what I believe. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
And I will say this, if you're in it for salary, because that salary does something for you, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will have clients come in and they will say, well, I just feel bad saying it, but I really want X amount. That's okay,
Yeah.
right? I am sure after that layer, there are other things that you care about. And
Right.
so when you figure out what your purpose is, it could be great. I find the clients that are like, oh, I could do anything, they're never happy and they're never satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
So doing this work, whether with a coach or on your own, I'm sure there are many journals out there.
Right.
You can outline these things and think about these 7 areas. So let's repeat them again. So there was
Finances, career, relationships, free time, giving back, personal development, and health.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those are all very, very, very important. Okay, so for those listening today, say they're on the edge of making a change, but they're holding back. What's one step you'd encourage them to take today?
Okay. So first, I think you have to get really clear and make sure you have to, like, career versus the situation you're in. Because sometimes people want to run away from a job because of the environment of the employer, something else. So get really clear on what it is you're not enjoying right now and what you are enjoying. And look at that, weigh it out. Is it really the work you're doing that you're just not feeling connected to anymore? Or is it that you're in a place that is just like gets under your skin, right? Like, you get that feeling when you're driving up and you're just like, oh, I can't do this another day, right? I think a lot of us have been there. But aside from that, what I encourage people to do is to write out the jobs you've had. And this is a really good journaling exercise or whatever. You just get a piece of paper, but you write out all the jobs you've had. And this can go as far back as you want it. Like, look at the job that you loved in high school. We can see there might be clues there as to what still aligns with you now. So, and then you're going to write out like the list of skills that you did under each job. So hard skills, soft skills, you're going to also, just list out any tasks that you were assigned to, all of them, the ones you love and the ones you hated. Then you're going to go back through and circle the ones that you actually enjoy and wouldn't mind doing again or continuing to do. And then I want you to write a list of all your like interests and things that bring you joy, just in general, not just work related, like in life. And then what you're going to look for, and this can be the little trickier part, and this is kind of where a coach comes in, is finding where things overlap and how certain things lend themselves to certain jobs, certain skills, and those interests, right? These are all just clues you're looking for as to what's next. And even I'll tell people, you can use Google, but now we have all these AI things. Then this is one of those places I think it can be good for. And just see what it spits out. It's all ideas, right? Just put in there what your skills are that you love, maybe what your degree is, if you have one, and what you're interested in, and just see what it comes up with. We're just trying to get ideas at first and see what sparks an interest in you. So, yeah, that might be more than one thing they can do, but
I love it. I love it. It's so great. How about, journal it out, write it out, talk to ChatGPT.
Right.
You can do so many things. Research is great. You have to do research, even if you know what you want to do. What are the opportunities? What are the salary ranges? Where are these jobs located? Who's hiring? It's all out there.
Yeah, and that's you have to start somewhere because you need to, people will shut down ideas just because they think they need to like go back to school or they think they don't have the
Right?
skills for it. But a lot of times, I would say probably most of the time they do.
They just don't see it. It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It is true. It is true. Megan, thank you so much for all of your insights today. I hope that our listeners just learned so much about themselves or think about how they can analyze themselves to
Yeah,
better
for
their
sure.
lives.
Yeah. Well, thank
All right.
you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Next Step Career Corner. I hope Megan's story reminded you that even when the path forward feels unclear, there's power in pausing, reflecting, and realigning your career with what truly matters to you. If you love today's episodes, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's standing at a career crossroads. And if you want to connect with Megan or learn more about her work, you'll find all the links in the show notes. Until next time, keep taking your next right step. Bye, everybody.